In this lesson, we're going to create our Bootstrap website from scratch. And we need to starting point, and this is going to be that index.html file. So I've just simply created a blank index. I've created a blank file, named it index.html, and this is where we are right now. So to get Bootstrap into our project, so the first thing I like to do is either I've got a Bootstrap template that I utilize, or I write out this Bootstrap code and set that up first. So that's the first thing I want to do, is bring Bootstrap and have a ready to go HTML formatted Bootstrap template. So over here I've got actually the Bootstrap files downloaded. So I've got the Bootstrap CSS there, I've got the Bootstrap JS library there, so I can bring those into my project because I've already downloaded them. But I'm also going to show you how we can bring that in and how we can utilize the CDN and bring those in instead onto our project. So we're going to be using the web CDNs instead of the local ones, but it doesn't matter which way you access Bootstrap. So as long as if you prefer downloading it, then you can do that as well. So a good idea when you're working with Bootstrap is not to touch the Bootstrap CSS file. If you're making any kind of adjustments or tweaks to the CSS, then go ahead and create them within another CSS file and then place that CSS file under the Bootstrap one, or keep it within on page, because this is going to be a single page project. So we are going to be keeping everything on page, and then we're going to create that CSS file afterwards. So let's go ahead and connect with the CDN. So I'll show you where to find that online. So when you go to the Bootstrap website, so again, we're in the Bootstrap 4 here, and they've got a quick link here for the Bootstrap CDN. So you can simply copy that to the clipboard, open up your project, and paste that in. So once you've pasted that in, now we need to format the rest of the HTML. I'm going to just hide that sidebar, and we're going to write out the rest of our HTML. So this is going to be an HTML5 document, so my doc type is just going to be HTML. So we'll open and close that. We need to open and close our HTML tags, so just going to do that. Place this one at the bottom so that we're wrapping all of this code within HTML, starting out with head, so opening and closing head. And I usually like to keep the JavaScript within the body. And this is because a lot of what I usually do within JavaScript relates to the DOM, and of course we want to load all of the document object into our browser so we can have access to that. So we want all of that to load first, and that's why I usually like to keep my JavaScript out of the head section. But of course you can also tweak that as well if you want to place in the top. So my preference, keep it within the body section. So now we've got our basic output here for Bootstrap, and we need to add in a few other things within Bootstrap. Because we're linking to the CDN library, we also need to link out to jQuery. So usually I use developers.google.com as my source for jQuery. So just going down here and picking up that jQuery library, copy, paste it in. Make sure you place it in front of the Bootstrap, ahead of the Bootstrap file before it loads, because Bootstrap relies on jQuery. There's actually going to be one other file I'm going to need, so I usually go over to documentation, and because again I'm linking out to the CDN, I do need this tether file at the moment. So this allows for some additional functionality within the JavaScript, the Bootstrap JavaScript library. And I believe it's only really being used for the tooltips when you're hovering over, so it does require this tether JavaScript library, so we need to add that in the middle. If you're not using any of that functionality, then what's going to happen is it's actually going to be throwing an error there within the console. So this is why right now at the moment it's a good idea that you add that in to avoid any kind of conflicts or errors or issues that might be coming up. So essentially this is our basic format, and then of course within here is where we would place our content, and this is what we're going to be building up within the next lesson. We also should always specify the viewport, and I usually like to include the title, so some spacing here for the title tags, so that we always know that we want to place that within there. So I'll just call it Bootstrap website. And we also need to specify some meta information such as the viewport. So let's set that up as well. So meta, and name equals, so the name is viewport. Actually going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to pop over to the Bootstrap website. They've got a nice starter template there which you can utilize in order to bring in the Bootstrap stuff fast into a project. So essentially you could just copy all of this out and get started with your website. So I'm going to just copy the top part there, and I'm going to just redo that so that now we're all ready for Bootstrap. So let's save that and go out to our browser here and refresh it, and there we go. So we're all ready to go with Bootstrap. And in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to start creating some Bootstrap ready content. So that's coming up in the next lesson.